Legacy Cast, making room for her story so we can remember what's possible and rise together. Hello, friends. Jill Leberknight here, chair of EXP's Women's Impact Network. Welcome to Legacy Cast and continuing to document and honor the stories of our sisters and powerhouse creatives and leaders. I'd like for us to start by getting present and getting ready to full body listen. So I'm going to pull the microphone forward and I'm going to say, everyone take a moment. I want you to take a breath and connect to your body, whether that's tapping or pressing or tuning into your body. I think sometimes touch and pressure can really help. So tune into your body. I want you to take a slow, steady breath in on a 4 count and hold. Ready? And let it out. Do you feel like maybe you could use another one? Let's do that one more time. Tune in, full body listening. Let's get present and ready to be with each other. Deep breath in, 2, 3, 4, hold. Out, slow and steady. I needed that. That helped me get grounded and be present with you. Today, we are carving out time to be present and honor the stories of our sisters and female leaders, because we've learned when we share our story, we share our truth, we open up and are reminded what's possible when we hear these stories, and we maybe have a little easier time rising together and in supporting each other and disrupting that tall poppy syndrome that we're going to continue to teach you about here at the Women's Impact Network. So today I'm really excited to introduce to you a very, very dear special friend and fellow colleague and leader that I get to serve with, Michelle O'Shell. I'm going to invite her onto the stage here. Michelle is one of our founding board of directors of our newly established EXP Women's Impact Network at EXP Realty. She's also our senior director of business operations at EXP and has served us over the past year in helping us creatively unleash and guide us through the discussions of structure, policy, governance. She's our governance chair at EXP. And if you don't know, the Women's Impact Network is a combined staff and member agent collaboration. So Michelle was actually the first, master behind the scenes at EXP leader that I had the opportunity to really collaborate and craft with together. And I have been so taken by her clarity, her calm confidence, and her powerhouse ability to shift a room's focus in an incredibly supportive manner. So I have been daydreaming about this day where I can carve out some time to better learn Michelle's story so that you can get to know her. EXP agents and other female leaders can get to know this powerhouse that is serving us behind the scenes, not always behind the scenes, but now certainly in front on the stage, serving with us at WIN, and maybe unleash your own possibilities of what you can become learning about Michelle's story. So welcome, Miss Michelle.
Hi, Jill. Yes, thank you so much. What a great intro.
That's working. So we have an executive team as a part of our Women's Impact, our board of directors, and chair, vice chair, governance chair, our director of operations, Lynn Miller. We visit on a regular basis, and it is reminding me, as someone who's been in the leadership space and certainly the women's empowerment space for years, decades, how valuable it is to have quality, impactful time to really get to know each other and collaborate. And I've had that rich, robust, wonderful, meaty, real raw time with Michelle. So Michelle, take us back. I didn't get to know little 7-year-old Michelle. Tell me where I'm just using 7-year-old Michelle because I have learned that our core memories began between the ages of 5 and 8. So I'm learning, or I'm just going to start off and say, where was 7-year-old Michelle? Where was she? What was she doing? What was her world? Tell us.
Yeah, wow, that's taking me way back. 7-year-old Michelle, like I grew up in a town north of Dayton, Ohio. Pretty average, I would say. There wasn't anything like super significant. I was an average student. I was in the Brownies and in Girl Scouts. I always wanted to participate in activities, but I mean, even from little Laban, like I was the organizer, the coordinator, like I wanted to sell the most cookies, but I didn't want to be out there selling them. I wanted to find ways to have other people sell them for me. So even then, like I was a coordinator of activities and a coordinator of sales spots, so yeah.
Really?
Yeah, it was pretty interesting. I'd have like ways to send the little Girl Scout sheet with my mom to work and with my stepdad to wherever he was going. And I'd reach out to my aunts and my uncles and my grandparents and didn't have to do much of the work, but I always was in that top percent because I had enough people in my little community that they could sell for me and I didn't have to do all the straight sales.
So I want to dig into that, Michelle. Like, what do you think that was about? Did you find yourself more of what some people might classify as an introvert, or do you feel like that's just how your creativity sort of spiraled out or played out?
Yeah, I've always been a processor. Like situations happen, and I always had to process why this circumstance happened or why this situation happened, either to overcome it and accept it or to better myself. Like I've always tried to learn from mistakes and learn from challenges that I've experienced in my life. And that's a really good question. Like my stepdad and I's relationship was very I don't know, challenging, I guess. From a 7, 8, 9 year old little girl, it was hard. I didn't understand why he was so hard on me and why the words he used to speak to me were the way that he did it. Looking back on it now as an adult, like he taught me loyalty and resilience and never quit, never give up, be perfect no matter what. But to a 7, 8 year old little girl, like I wanted to be perfect and I wanted to be the best that I could be. And I had to find other ways to do that because yes, I was an introvert. I love to talk, always love to talk, but loving to talk isn't always an extrovert. I think a friend of mine told me a while ago that I'm an extroverted introvert. So I love to talk to people that I have things in common with, but I don't necessarily want to be introduced to new people. It's just not something that I'm really blessed with. Getting to know new people is not like my favorite thing. I have my community. I want to continue in my community and build it, but build it in my own way. So it was like that when I was younger too. Yeah.
I love that you're bringing that up because I think that's something I was introduced to that concept when I read Susan Cain's book, Quiet. I don't know if you've ever heard of that book.
I haven't read that one. No.
Great book, but she, really does a deep dive exploration into extrovert, introvert. And that's where I too became aware of the fact that there can be blending and blurred lines because
yes.
I even assumed I was just all extrovert. And that's actually not the case. I am a blend of both because I get easily burned out by the extrovert side of me. I gain energy from people, but I need a lot more reset time. And there is a lot of wonderful research about where people gain energy and get energy depleted. So I love that our members and people are getting to know two different types of this blended behavior style with the two of us. Because,
Absolutely.
we're a little bit different, but a lot alike.
A lot alike, but a little bit different. You're absolutely right. And I think that's what makes the Women's Impact Network so great. And we've discussed this before. You each can have your own values and your own beliefs in life, but you can blend it and still respect each other and bring it to the table in a platform that we are celebrating each other and building each other up. So yeah,
Yeah,
that's what I
yeah.
love the most about it. Yeah.
So where did this brownie, did you evolve into Girl Scouts? Were you one of those? Because I was a brownie as well, but I didn't really spend a lot of time in Girl Scouts. Where
Yeah.
did that young girl grow and evolve? Where did she travel on to?
Yeah, I did 1 year of Girl Scouts, and then you know, life got in the way, and you know, you have to be taken places and do things like that the more you get involved in it, and it just didn't work out. um, you know, going through elementary, junior high, high school, that whole thing, like I said, it was just average to me. I continued my spiral though with the sales thing, because I remember I was in choir and in drama, and we had to sell oranges, and I did the same thing. We sold citrus in the fall and the winter, and I did the same thing. I utilized my core group to make my sales for me. I still was in that top like 10 or 20% of everybody's sales, but I just continued to evolve in that. Okay, we got to figure out a way to make it happen, but I don't want to be the one directly out there making it happen. So I
Yeah.
little on, I was a little entrepreneur, I think, but I was finding ways to be diverse about it and figure out ways to make other people do it for me. So
So was that growing in you, entrepreneurial business side pursuits? Like,
yeah,
was that developing a definition of who you were as
absolutely,
a young person, or how you
absolutely
engage with
was.
friends?
Yeah, I do believe so. My mom was a real estate agent when I was growing up. My stepfather and her had investment properties, and they did fix and flips. So that was always like a behind the scene things that I was involved with. You know, I remember probably 9, 10 years old, helping her with open houses, farming marketing areas, doing different things like that. So real estate and that entrepreneurial has always been something that was in my life. They owned a candy store when I was younger. They owned a plumbing and heating business. I mean, there was lots of self employment going on in my family, and then that next level. How do we take this to the next level? So there's a lot of those things that were instilled in me very, very young. And two of those businesses were family businesses where my stepfather's family also worked in the business. So that was something else. And I think that connection made me very, very much connected to my family. Like my family is my rock. My family is my space. If I need to get grounded or regenerate myself, get more energy, I surround myself with my grandchildren, with my husband, with my mom, with
Mm.
my daughter. That's just my family is my core. So
Mm. So like where did was there a turning point, like, as you shifted into independent living, whether, did you go to college? Did you immediately go into entrepreneurial pursuits after high school?
yeah, twofold. That's a great question. I don't talk about this very much, but right after high school, I joined the United States Marine Corps due to a
I
birth
did know
defect.
that, but I want
I
to. I
think,
I am
I think,
excited to
yeah,
hear more about this.
yeah, I did tell you that. Like I said, I don't talk about it much. I joined, and within a very short period of time, it was realized that I had a birth defect in my right eye. I actually knew that it was there and had disclosed it, but it got missed. We'll just leave it there. When I got discharged, it was completely devastating to me. Um, I think that was a huge turning point. But again, it wasn't something that I had learned until later in life. So let me explain what I mean by that. Um, when you build yourself up to do something like that, and you join and you want to be a part of something. I mean, I love structure, and I want to be purposeful in my life all the time, and that was a huge purpose, right? Joining the Marine Corps. When I got discharged, I kind of spiraled. I didn't know what I was going to do, and I didn't really understand why I wasn't fit to be a Marine. I understood the words they told me, but still, it was like, and that at that time, women weren't in combat. So the reason they gave me was I wasn't fit to protect myself or my fellow Marine. But I wasn't in combat. situations, I mean, it's neither here nor there now. It took me close to 20 years to really get over that and accept that and understand that God had something bigger and better planned for me.
Yeah.
But I took away from that, structure and the ability to overcome something very devastating. And it may seem small, and I know there's other people out there that go through much greater devastation than being
Mm.
impacted that way. But for me, at 19 years old, that was huge. That was huge. So
Yeah, and it, certainly knowing you now and your superpower for uh, organization and creativity in the realm of operations and structure.
mhm.
Um, you know, did you feel like you had a sense that the military might be a space where you could really
Oh,
unleash in
absolutely.
that organizational manner, very
Yeah,
structured manner?
that the structure piece of it, I think, is what I needed. Like I thrive in structure.
Mm,
But I've found, like I said, I've found over the last probably 5 or 6 years, structure isn't always what you need. Structure is what you make it. So, like with all this new AI and technology that we're, working inside for with EXP, I've come to realize that structure isn't all that it's set up to be, and sometimes it's really fun and nice to step outside that structure and get to explore and do more. Um, I call it sometimes I call myself like I'm a organized chaos or a chaos creator because I'm able to structure the chaos that I live in every single day.
mhm.
So it's kind of fun. Yeah, I I've moved past it, and it built my story. I'm able to share my story and move past it. I guess is what I'm trying to say.
So after the military, what did you do? Was there an experimentation like of trying new careers or um just reset time? Like
Yeah, lots of
where did
careers.
Michelle go as she worked
Yeah.
through finding clarity with that?
Yeah, lots of careers. I've never been one to turn down an opportunity. I have tried just about everything that I've been offered that would accelerate me and my goals and my future. Like if it seemed like a really good option, I took it. I was a flight attendant for a year and a half. And I did that until they had opened a new hub and until they flipped some of the seniority around and I wasn't getting the lines that I was getting originally. I did that. Then I was a bartender at a local bar in Dayton, and I worked there until I, figured out what was next. I got into mortgages. I worked at National City Bank, was an auditor and a did file review, and that really kind of brought me back to the real estate piece of it, which I think was always in the back of my head.
Mhm.
From that, I moved to a suburb of Atlanta, Georgia, with my husband and worked in the mortgage industry. Um, Went down to Florida for a year and then have been in North Carolina since end of 2004. So that kind of was my story. Like I really got back into real estate through mortgages. I worked as a supervisor, a bank teller supervisor for a couple of years in there too. Like I said, I didn't pass up opportunities. If I saw it was going to grow my career path or I felt that it was going to take me to the next level and give me new skill sets, I took it. Sometimes I worked 2 and 3 jobs to get that. Very, very driven. I just always wanted to find my place and find my own. And I think I'm finally
Mhm.
there. So
Yes, 100%. So as you were like traveling through all these new experiences, were there some common threads of did you have awareness of what you excelled at and what you wanted to bring to the work? Like, have you always had an awareness?
I don't think so. Um, I think people kind of migrate to what they're good at without realizing that that's what they're
Mm,
good at. And I think that's kind of what I always did. Um, Looking back at everything, even as a bartender, like I did bartending daytime. So I did the ordering for the bar. I did the bank runs for the bar. Like, even looking back on the little things of what I did, even if it was a short period of my life, it always migrated to operations. Even when I look at my real estate career, I started, I was on a team. I was also the team that I worked for. I was also like the executive assistant and the buyer's agent. So I did dual role there. I went into be a solo agent, but I wasn't fulfilled as a solo agent. I love my clients. I love being a real estate agent, but I wasn't fulfilled doing that solely. So I became a member of the ALC, and I also was a productivity coach. From that, I decided, yeah, I really want to be a broker in charge. I really want to help lead other agents and assist them and grow their business. So I became a broker in charge. And then I did that, and it still wasn't like, it just wasn't. I did that for a few years, and I was like, okay, I want more, I want more. So then I went to work for an expansion team, and I became the director of ops and the productivity coach for that. I did that for a couple of years. Went back to being a broker in charge for another office for a few years, and then landed at EXP, and finally feel at home here. I don't feel the pressure of having to sell to afford my lifestyle here at EXP. And I just absolutely love the agent community here, because everybody else talks about the cultures and the sharing and the knowledge and all that. EXP lives it. And it wasn't until I landed here that I felt fulfilled. I was able to get the operations role that I wanted, and then continued to elevate up, with the company, and still fulfill the inside calling of helping agents and being there to assist the agents and helping them grow their businesses, because ultimately that's what we're all here for, is to help one another, build our businesses. So
yeah, hearing all that, Michelle, I'm wondering, through all those chapters, what was giving you the confidence or the courage to feel like it was safe or okay to strive for something next or more or bigger or taller? Like, as a woman in the business field, I know that, more than 60% of realtors are female. So we are fortunate in our profession to see a lot of women around, but we still struggle with women in leadership. It seemed like you were craving more diversity of responsibility, or ways in which you could fully unleash your creativity. What do you think gave you the confidence to pursue stuff like that?
well, that for me, I think in the original context, of that, it was need. I needed to help provide for my family. Was
Oh,
raising a young daughter into a teenage daughter with my husband, and there was a need there, right?
yeah.
And then as I got more into it, like the word craving just spoke to me when you said that. When I got more into it, I really did crave more. And I just found people that I could work with, that I could learn skill sets from, that I could have them help elevate me to that next level. And working side by side and offering my support, I think
Mm,
is my superpower. I mean, anytime somebody needs something, I say reach out to me. I'm happy to assist, or I'm happy to connect you with somebody that can help you get what you need. And that's always been I guess my mantra, or my way of thinking, is I wanted to support others as I had been supported.
mhm,
I didn't ever really look at wanting that next level. The next level just kind of happened as I continued to build. But I would, back to your question, I think originally it was need. Like, I needed to make more money. I needed to be fulfilled in what I was doing too. And I've always tried to balance that. And I think that's hard for women, because a lot of the family aspect falls on us, like cooking and cleaning and raising the kids and getting them to and from school and to and from sporting events. My husband always co-parented great with me, and we're married. We were co-parenting together, but always in my mind, because of how I was raised, it fell back on the woman and the wife, and making sure dinner was on the table every night, making sure the laundry was done every week, the house was cleaned, and just different elements of it. Even though if it was in my mind more than it was being pressured onto me, those things drove me. Those things pushed me. I needed to earn more. I needed to learn more. I needed to do more.
Mm. I'm so glad you're bringing this up, because I hear this story a lot when I have the opportunity to interview uh, veteran realtors, female realtors in our profession. And there's a lot of history and a lot of stories of single moms. Not that you were at the time a single mom, but there's a lot of single moms in real estate. There are a lot of people that were in positions of need. And that is a beauty to our profession. There is no ceiling to, the sky's the limit for what we can accomplish. There's, certainly boundaries and framework that we still need to, provide more opportunities for and raise awareness. But I hope that our listeners and people watching can recognize a real history in the real estate industry of women being able to come and accomplish a need financially to support families. That's sometimes a forgotten part of our story. And I'm just glad and grateful that this profession has been able to provide that for women and provide them with an endless space to dream bigger and discover deeper things like, oh, well, I've known this organizational talent, natural talent of mine. And now I watched my parents do this. I want to help more people. Now I'm being introduced to all of these other ways that I can do more, be more, rise more. So like what levels did you really enjoy getting to be a part of when you were, you're still in the real estate industry, but when you were in production, serving clients, like what was exciting? Were there any moments or types of transactions or chapters that were really thrilling?
Yeah, I really enjoyed working with first-time homebuyers and military families. I've got to experience multiple military families, and I feel like that was one of my niche experiences, was working with them. But first-time homebuyers, I could really connect with them. I was newer to North Carolina when I first started selling. Had only been here a few years and didn't know a whole lot of people. Again, going back to that introvert, I was one that fell in that buying of leads, we'll say. But that introduced me to a lot of new people around the area. And when you're in that, you become family to them, and you learn about their families, you learn about their lives and their needs. And I would say first-time homebuyers and military were of my favorites. And then the repeat, seeing them grow out of the house that you helped them buy 4 or 5, 6 years, and being able to have them and stay in contact with them, and then them come back to you. What a compliment. What an honor to be able to work with them, multiple times. And then generational, they refer you to their families, to their brothers, their sisters, their moms, their dads, and getting to work with the whole family. I mean, that is such a compliment to the industry. And, I think referral-based sales is the most amazing, because you really must have impressed your original buyer or seller to have them refer you to somebody that they love so much. So,
yeah. So when did you sort of see this transition from production to some of the roles that you've been serving at eXp Realty over? And was there a transition? Like, did you go straight from production to eXp? How did that happen?
yeah, like I said, I'd been a broker in charge for another brokerage, and with that, you have to work full-time production because that's how you get paid pretty much. You do get some cost allowances, et cetera, for the other role that you have, but you still have to be full-time. I think I was just I think I was just tired. I was tired of working a full-time job and working a full-time job. And EXP, like I said, they give you the ability to not to have to do both. They take really good care of their staff. And when I came here, I still was able to sell some, so I was able to stay close to some of the clients that I'd worked with for years. And but the majority of it transitioned 2019, 2020. I was able to make really good relationships here and brought over a couple of agents or brought in a couple of agents that assisted me with my database. So my database is still strong, but it's being worked by other agents, which is good. And I think that's a key that we forget about is the support that we have inside this company. That if you need a lending hand, you just reach out. You know, there's multiple different ways of community that we can support each other. And it doesn't always have to be for a cost either. I mean, multiple times I've helped agents get into properties or showed homes for them. And, you know, I just do it. You do it out of the kindness of your heart to make them more successful or to help them. And I think in the hopes that it is in the honor of community that they'll do it in return if you ever needed a favor like that as well. And yeah, so the transition itself happened pretty fast. I wouldn't say it was an immediate cutoff because I did have so many families that I just loved and adored. I did still try to do both, but it's being a full-time plus job now. I've been here over 6 years, and I don't do much sales. I have under five sales transactions a year, and I think that's good. I mean, I don't work to work real estate sales. I work to support the agents that do the real estate sales, and
Yeah.
that's kind of how I hang that hat.
So where do you think you made the most journey in honing this like extraordinary masterful skill of organizing policy and structure and organizational creativity that I've had a chance to learn from working with you with Win? Like, were you really evolving some of those skills as a broker, or was it when you stepped into EXP and had a chance to really kind of look at that organizational lens from a bigger picture? Like, I want to learn, like, where did the big organizational structuring, building time happen for you?
Yeah, I don't know that it just like happened. I think it evolved over time. Ironically, I'm in the process of helping my mom clean out her house and pack up, and she found some of my old report cards, and it was kind of fun to read through the teacher comments. Um, Things like always trying to help others finish their homework versus finishing her own. Those types of comments, speaks up on others' behalf versus speaking up for herself. So I think back then I was doing it and it just didn't evolve. But if I look back at every job I've had, the entire career that I've had, which I've had an amazing career in real estate or otherwise, like every bit of it had an operations piece to it, a procedural piece to it. My mom is very much right is right and wrong is wrong, and the gray area falls in the middle, and you shouldn't go in that gray area very often. So I want to say that, being raised that way probably started it and kicked it off, but I think it's just evolved, and I really enjoy that space. I really enjoy what I'm doing now. I really enjoy working with Win and being able to assist to create the best governance charter we can have, and making sure that it accommodates everybody's needs, yet still has enough structure and purpose that it makes sense for what we're trying to accomplish.
Yeah, y'all, I got to tell you, I have been a part of a lot of nonprofits and boards where we have built new bylaws and charters and revamped charters and strat plans. And Michelle has a vision skill that is just glorious to work with. And that has been a highlight for me working with the Women's Impact Network, is being able to raise my game, being surrounded by people that are able to teach me some of their new skills in how to approach something or step back or scale down or focus in or collaborate. because that's, like that's a big part of it. So speaking of collaboration, like what has the role of women played in your life? Like, have you found women to be supportive in your life? Have you found female relationships easy or supportive or challenging?
I think probably a little of both. I think because I come from a stance of procedure and right or wrong or order, a lot of people maybe perceive me as like, I say a tattletale, but like if I call people out for something that it's more I'm inquiring, I'm inquisitive, but it may be perceived as, oh, is she calling us out on that? And I would
Mm,
never, once you get to know my heart, you know that that's just not who I am. But I've had a lot of strong women influence in my life. I've worked for a lot of amazing women and men, both. But I think for me, it's picking up pieces of everybody that has been willing to teach me and figuring out how those pieces connect to who I am and utilizing them to build the bigger, better Michelle. Like, what does that look like? Oh, I like this characteristic from somebody. Do I have that characteristic? Would it work with me? Sometimes it's just not. Sometimes there's amazing women that go and do things, and I think that I admire that, and I just think to myself, wow, I wish I could be like that. But then I
mm,
stop and pause and say, if I was like that, would I be like this? And I think that's something that women as a whole, we need to identify our individual skill sets and characteristics that add value to our lives and others' lives, and not look so much at trying to be like other people. Like I said, it's nuggets. Like I might take a nugget and like you're very creative, Jill. Let's just use that. And I'm more black and white, more structured. But you have used the word creativity in what I do, and I never thought of it like that. I never
mm.
thought of that as I'm being creative. I'm being procedural. I'm being orderly. But when you say it like that, I'm like, wow, yeah, I could see what she's saying. So those little things I think are what can help build us as women, is pulling little nuggets from each other, and how do we fit those nuggets in our day-to-day lives, and utilizing that to see the strengths that we have. So
Yeah. And I so wanted you to be one of our early storytellers because you have such a quiet confidence. You excel at listening in a very grounded, patient manner. And like that's hard. That's hard sometimes for creative Jill that, has ideas that I want to share and express. And I know in a field like real estate and in a world where there is a bit of a scarcity complex amongst women of like, there's only so many roles. We have to fight for the one role. Like we sometimes can be told over and over again to be loud and assertive, and then we have all the narratives of women of like, oh, what happens if we are loud and assertive? But I think I want women to see what another example of female leadership looks like. And to me, every ounce of what you bring to win with your governance work and policy is massive creativity. And you ground me in so many different ways throughout the process when things get overwhelming. It's collaboration is one of the hardest things to do. And we sometimes don't stop and think about the different learning styles. I have, there's a wonderful agent here in the Austin area where I'm at that has been, raising awareness on different learning styles. And I think sometimes we forget that. And you have often brought that to my attention as well. So what are you daydreaming about now? What's Michelle? Let's say it doesn't have to even be in the realm of real estate. What are some
yeah.
things that because we're a little bit mature. We've had some ups and downs.
Mm-hmm.
We have experienced life challenges. We've had discoveries of clarity of, oh, I understand where these experiences, the military story that you shared with us, like I love that, you were real and raw with us that took 20 some years to really grieve and let go of some of what that was for you in that transition. What are you daydreaming about, hearing this helping spirit that I know you have? How are you wanting to unleash your creativity now?
Yeah, so I guess throw it out in the universe and then it'll make it happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not going to give too many details, but I am going to start writing a book, and it could potentially be a series of books. I think you and I did discuss this a few weeks back, but there's something that's very near and dear to my heart right now that I think my Gen Z age group people, I think it would be very impactful to write this book and not self-help, but kind of self-structure. So more details on that maybe the next time we meet up. I want to get it pen to paper and get something going on that before I give too much. But that's really my focus, is getting that underway. Also decided to continue my degree. So I'm in school right now full time. That's taking up quite a bit of my time. And our granddaughter started kindergarten this year. So helping with that and then watching her little brain learn is fulfilling and time consuming as well. So
I hear being a grandparent is like the coolest thing ever.
it's beyond. It's like child love on steroids. You love your child. I love my daughter. But the grandchildren, it's a different feeling. It's like you're seeing your legacy of your child through their eyes and through their experience, and it's just the most amazing thing. I can't wait for you and all of our listeners that are able to experience it
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I know we have talked about some of our daydreams together and working to encourage each other. You know, when members and others have heard me talk about the fangirl code and, real action items and asking women their story and encouraging them to document and speak their truth is action step number one. But also sort of speaking well of them, honoring their names, speaking well of them when they're not in the rooms and inviting them into rooms that they don't have access to. But there isn't, I won't go on and on about all these other steps, but there is an embedded action of lifting others up, like intentionally lifting others up and being an active participant in supporting women in their journey. So I know you and I talked about supporting each other in our writing journeys so that we can, and it sounds like, Michelle, you've always sort of been in action mode. You have always been sort of not allowing ideas or daydreams to sit too long before you step into them. So I have no doubt that this is going to be, and wish that all of these layers of Michelle, the friend, daughter, mother, grandmother, broker, organizational, creative expert, have an opportunity to live out in this wisdom that you share with people. If someone wanted to reach out to you or connect with you and learn more about you, if there are ways that people can connect with you and collaborate with you and learn from you?
Yeah, if you're an EXP agent, you can connect with me on Slack, Michelle O'Shell. If you would prefer to reach out to me on Instagram, it's Michelle O'Shell is my Instagram handle, and I'm on Facebook as well. You can always reach out through the WIN Impact Network community Slack channel also. I'm happy to continue this journey, continue this conversation with anybody that wants to have it. Maybe there's someone out there that's kind of gone my same path and just want somebody to bounce ideas off of, or to help them, hold them accountable to something, or to lift them up. That is my true passion. We talk about legacy a lot. This is the Legacy Cast, but we talk about legacy a lot. And for me, and my role at EXP, it's to leave others in a better role than they're at right now, or to
Mm,
provide them the pivot that they need to get to that next level in their career, in their lives, business and personal. And then for the agents, for our agent community, the same thing. Like, I want to see you excel at the speed you want to excel at, and gain at the speed you want to gain at. And for me, I was, when I was selling full time, I wasn't a top producer, but I was okay with that because I really enjoyed working with the agent, or the clients that I got to work with, and the agents as well. And I think that you have to find yourself and identify with yourself who you want to be, and then accept that, and the growth will come, the ideas will come, the structure will come. And sometimes it takes a long time to figure that out. I know my path was probably a little bit longer than others, and but I absolutely enjoy every bit of my life right now. Like, it is wonderful to be Michelle O'Shell and to be a part of this amazing Women's Impact Network. We have a wonderful group, a board of directors and ambassadors and other members, that are just there, ready, willing, and able to help support, the empowerment of other women. And I love that.
mm. And I love that I got to get to know 7-year-old Michelle today,
Yeah,
just a
yeah.
little bit,
Hmm.
and know that even at that young age, you were leaning in
Hmm.
to a deep knowing and awareness of what your skills were and what your superpowers and strengths were,
Yeah, without even
and
knowing it, right? Without
without
even
even
knowing
knowing
that's
it.
what I was doing. That's what I was doing.
So,
Yeah.
like we're more powerful than we realize as women, and life is going to take us, and the tailwinds are going to take us all sorts of places. But it was beautiful to hear you talk about how those core strengths continued to show up
Mhm.
time and time again, and that you had the confidence and the internal, the big wisdom, I call it, inside, to know to listen to it
Yeah.
and to
And
not
I want
push
to,
that down.
yeah, and I want to encourage that too. Like, as I said, I've done a lot of internalizing in my life. I capped myself because of pressures I was under, or because of internal limitations I set for myself. Um, I guess the way that you said it was right. I'm very quiet about how I approach things because I'm processing. I'm trying to figure it all out. I don't want to make a mistake, right? I want to strive to be perfect. But don't limit yourself to that. Had I learned that lesson 20
Mm,
years from now, I don't know where I'd be. Maybe I'd be much further. Like I said, I'm super happy with where I'm at right now, but I think if I was to give one little bit of legacy advice for people that are trying to build their legacies, is don't cap yourself right now. Don't limit yourself. Identify your strengths, grow your strengths, but there could be some other skills that you can learn that could help elevate those strengths, right?
absolutely. So Michelle O'Shell, Senior Director of Business Operations, founding member of the Women's Impact Board of Directors, Women Impact Network Governance Chair, who is unleashing like unbelievably helpful structural clarity for a new way for women to lead. She is, uh, unleashing amazing creativity with EXP in her role, but also very active, supportive daughter, grandmother, mom, writing a book, and full-time student. This is
Part-time
not
student,
part-time
full-time.
student,
Yeah, I'm only doing it part-time.
part-time. But I
Yeah.
mean, like, this is not Michelle and I telling you, you have to do all the things. What I kept hearing you say at the end, though, is there are limitless opportunities if you want them.
Absolutely.
Don't,
Absolutely. Don't
you know,
cap yourself.
don't
Mhm.
cap yourself.
Mhm.
Um, Thank you so much for Now I'm already ready for 2.0 conversation with Michelle. But thank you for carving out some time. I was full-bodied listening today, and I feel like I need to go and think about where I might be capping myself off and creating some limitations in my own mind of what I can and cannot do. So thank you so much for.
Thank you for the opportunity. I absolutely loved it. And 2.0 sounds great. You just reach out whenever you're ready.
Woohoo! On where we go. Okay. New WIN members, existing WIN members, allies, all the people we lead and work and collaborate with. We are so grateful that you were here with us today, and tune in next time. We're bringing more stories of women that lead conversations, women who lead from the inside out. And so we can remind you of the possibilities that are out there for us. And these stories help us speak our truth, reclaim our truth. It is a restorative practice. And we are going to bring more of those for you in the next Legacy Cast. So thanks for joining us today. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Legacy Cast. Making room for her story so we can remember what's possible and rise together.